Welcome to the channel of Praxia. My name is Vincent. I'm the founder and leader of the Praxis Society, and I'm here today to give a little information about our organization, what type of content you'll find on this channel, who we are, and most importantly, what it is that we stand for. Praxia is a society dedicated to the espousal, proliferation, protection, and study of divine knowledge, esoteric truths and wisdoms, proper formal traditions, and the translation of such things into all spheres of reality through what we call praxism. So what is praxism? Praxism is a holistic conception. We believe in a monistic and singular divine principle and unifying quintessential truth to reality, which becomes translated into lesser and more relative truths and active principles in various spheres. Now, the word praxism is a term that we've coined which derives from the English word praxis, which is defined as the method through which a principle is enacted, embodied, or realized, and we've added the suffix of ism to combine the denotation of a process of a principle with the denotation of a principle itself, which means that when we refer to praxism, we're referring to a union of two different notions, both active and passive. In a passive form, we define praxism as that aforementioned quintessential truth, along with its related set of principles and various derivatives. And in an active form, we define it as the active translation of this truth into those aforementioned relative spheres, or as the way in which the quintessential truth is carried out. Obviously, this is a very broad concept, and it is intended this way, as there are many ways in which praxism as a holistic principle can be expressed. However, there is a strict set of qualifications that must be met for something to be considered as praxised. I'll outline some of the most important and general qualifications right here. Foremostly, the highest point of reference must be divinity and that quintessential truth as a monistic and encompassing principle from which all things derive their legitimacy. Next, the conception in question must exist as some type of interpretation of these principles. The conception must also be what we call oriented upwards and directed at the fulfillment of metaphysical preordainments and functions, and not at producing material results, unless those results themselves are oriented upwards. This is the general and most essential outline for the characteristics of anything which can be considered as expressive of praxism. Now, some might ask, is praxism some type of new religion? And the answer is no, absolutely not. Praxism is the essential principles which take form and become expressed by the various proper world religions and spiritual conceptions. It's more so the process through which these religions embody or interpret certain perennial principles. Along these lines, praxism is incorporative of the Theologia and the Sophia Perennis, which are two conceptions according to which the world's religions exist as offshoots of a single tradition or expressions of a set of timeless and universal principles, each of which placing emphasis on different areas but still embodying the same necessary components. Praxism as a principle and process is the essential, and religion is the substantial. This means that praxism is a designation and a classification rather than a single specific embodiment of a formalism or dogma. It's the absolute quintessence from which dogmas derive their legitimacy. So there is no exclusivity on the basis of religion or dogma or anything of that sort to be designated a praxist, so long as that conception remains within the parameters of the designation, so to speak. Now, regarding praxism and the Theologia, there is another school of thought similarly related to that perennial philosophy with quite a bit of overlap with the praxis set of ideas, which has been dubbed the traditionalist school of René Guénon and the like. There are a few differences between this school's philosophy and praxism, most of which regards temporal power and the issue of spontaneity and alignments, but we can save the details of that for a later time. However, with the current lack of literature on our end, and most of our philosophies existing within an oral lineage for now, for reading on our attitudes regarding tradition versus modernity and metaphysics versus materialism, the various religions, and so on, I do point primarily to them. So what is Praxia? Our mission as a society is manifold. In the most abstract and essential sense, we wish to preserve the union of that quintessential truth with the various components of reality. What this means is our goal is to acquire and safeguard knowledge concerning divinity, theology, esotericism, initiatic wisdom, and so on, to uphold proper religious and spiritual traditions and ensure that they are not subverted, to protect and assist religious institutions and communities, to promote thinkers who substantiate the set of ideas, but also to apply this knowledge in our lives, to protect our communities and posterity, to perform advocatory work in favor of traditional lifestyles, groups, philosophies, and the conception we call praxism, against materialism and inverted and anti-traditional and anti-praxis worldviews. We are generally accepting of anyone at any level of knowledge towards the subject also who feels an inclination to agree with and support us, regardless of religious alignment or physical dispositions. What you'll find on this channel is a multitude of things regarding our group and our set of ideas. First of all, there will be videos outlining various praxis conceptions and philosophies. There will be structured videos regarding various religions, esoteric or philosophic conceptions or ideas on which we may want to elaborate, which may or may not relate entirely to our philosophy. There will be less structured, conversational podcasts where we discuss certain philosophic, political, or social components and our opinions on the matter. There will be readings of certain texts which may or may not fully represent our set of ideas, but nonetheless made with the intention of spreading to the listener a hopefully unbiased take on what the author may have meant, along with videos on how that might apply to our philosophy or certain other philosophies on the same subject. We hope you stick around to hear what we have to say, and if you would like to find out more about praxism in our society, you can check the description of this video for places where that information is located. My name is Vincent. Thank you once again.